Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Publishing Disrupted.
Publishing Disrupted.
We're about to disrupt stuff.
Ooh.
Or we're feeling disrupted. Or both.
Yeah.
This is Mick Silva, by the way, editor.
Editor.
Yeah. And that's all I am.
Yeah. And I'm the other disembodied voice as David Morris, publisher and literary agent.
We're two former Christian publishing industry professionals.
Yes, exhausted Gen Xers. You're Gen X, right?
I'm very Gen X.
Yeah, I'm the early Gen X.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've said this before.
Yeah, I'm
right?
like mid to late.
Yeah. I'm almost a boomer, but no way.
No
way.
No,
I have way too much sarcasm.
I don't think you can claim that. Yeah. Professionals learning to navigate the massive independent book market. There, I finally read the entire line.
Yeah.
But this podcast in specific is looking to explore the ways in which book publishing is changing and how writers can best meet that challenge. So when we first started over a year ago now, we're actually over a year in, we were talking on Zoom post-COVID and post-Zondervan, having just dialogue, missing our meetings. We would have one-on-ones, but then we'd have like editorial meetings as well. And I personally was missing that.
Yeah.
So we would meet, because you had gone freelance as well, about all the different changes that had disrupted us and things that we were looking at, and
discussion of our professional
industry
everyday
stuff,
professional work.
Yeah, but like beliefs too. Like beliefs, like, does this even still matter?
Right.
Like, why are we doing this? And,
right.
You know, so it's existential stuff.
Right.
And the fact that you had a background in psychology, your doctorate in that, and then that I was aspiring to be a bit more thoughtful and considered in how I was conducting myself, even thinking of the fact that I had a career, because I sort of fell into Christian publishing, having wanted to be a writer. I said, let's pursue this. And we just started this podcast, and now we're kind of into it in a year. And you were saying before we started, like, things that I'm concerned about still, like, are we going to start repeating ourselves? Do we have more topics? Do we have more people that we could invite on?
Yeah, we are going to have more guests.
All of that I want to do.
Yeah.
I think there's much more to talk about.
Yeah.
There's much more being disrupted. In fact, if you look back, I just noticed this morning. If you look back at when Mark Knoll's book, The Scandal of the Evangelical Mind, was published.
Yeah, it's ancient by now.
It was 1994, folks.
It's still a scandal, too, by the way.
It's more than a scandal. It's a fiasco. I think it's like, it's out of control.
Right.
Like, the scandal has broken out into this, like, metastasized virus of cancer that's taking over the country.
Yeah. There's a lot of PhDs being given out by evangelical colleges, but there's still a scandal of the evangelical mind, by the way.
Did you see that one? Erica Kirk was like given this honorary doctorate at Hillsdale this past week or something. I'm just like, give me a break, people.
Yeah.
Her husband spoke against even going to college. Like, I don't even understand where
especially
we are.
for women, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we don't need to get into that.
It's like a reverse. They're doing a reversal. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
and
anyway,
it's not a real degree, by the way. So it's just an honorary degree.
It's an honorary degree.
Yes.
Yeah, she didn't have to do anything for it.
Given out by men, probably.
But like traditional publishing, evangelical Christian publishing is the traditional publishing model. Spiritual but not religious is kind of a term that we have claimed reluctantly because of the lack of a better one. But that's where we are personally, but we still are facing professional challenges, and we'd like to still discuss some of the stuff going on in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things recently, exciting actually news about Erdman's, from editor Lisa Cockrell, is doing a new imprint of literary nonfiction, I guess they're calling it, which I mean, you could call it anything.
Called in the title of the imprint?
What's it called? I forget.
Here Below.
Here Below, thank you. Yeah, that's interesting.
That sounds like we've heard that phrase before.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But from Erdman's, I'm kind of excited to see what they do. And there's a lot of books out there, as we even saw this past month in the Calvin Conference. A lot of spiritual writers, memoirists, historians, people who are maybe still in the camp somewhat in Christianity, in evangelicalism, even Catholicism, but have some misgivings, have been disrupted in some ways, and want to explore that in literary nonfiction.
Right.
It's time to go check out what they're doing at Erdman's.
So what do you think literary nonfiction is?
So, I mean, it's a broad term. I would love to have Lisa on to kind of define that
There you
a bit
go.
more. That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
She's in town.
Yeah.
I think if you go back to like there's creative nonfiction, right? That's in the MFA programs. That's what you would study if you were going to be in sort of literary nonfiction. I'm thinking that's a catch-all for that term.
Yeah.
Creative nonfiction.
I was gonna say, what the hell does that mean?
Memoir. I mean, obviously historical stuff like what Kristen Dumais is doing probably falls into that category. Literary in the sense of like it's taking this goes back to my English training, but T.S. Eliot's idea of standing upon the shoulders of the giants who went before you. So there's an existing heritage, a lineage of literature that you are drawing upon to create your own conclusions in your own books. And whether that's memoir or historical or even self-help in some ways,
right,
that can be literary nonfiction. It's going to a higher-minded audience, people who are readers. They're not necessarily academic, but they do enjoy, let's say, Barbara Brown Taylor and Diana Butler Bass, as opposed to, not to be dismissive, but like Jen Hatmakers of the world, or, Beth Morris or whoever.
It would be fun to have, it would really be fun to have Lisa Copperl on. And
I think it would be too.
Let's define that word, literary, that phrase, literary nonfiction. There, how do you break that down?
Right.
Like what's, you kind of know it when you see it.
When you see it, it's a little more heady, I suppose, in some ways.
The lineage thing is good.
It's educated.
Like you're right, educated lineage. You're bringing up things we already know,
right?
And finding
referring to familiar stuff.
New synthesis.
Yeah,
hopefully without pontificating or being elitist.
Well, and integrating is a word that we had talked about. Like, how do you integrate with what came before, with what is true now, and how do we then apply that to our lives?
But it's also probably marked by certain qualities, like slowing down,
slower, noticing things.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, actually. Because that's what we feel like that's what we're missing now more than ever.
Right.
Yeah. There's
what we want in this.
There's just not a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
Because of the way publishing has changed, that's actually been one of the things we see less of, I think. Yeah.
Right. So I had a quote that I'd like to start with, just because it tells me what I'm doing. It reminds me what I'm doing, because we often have that question, like, why are we even doing this? Because you can get just so thrown off by some random post on social media that I'll read, and from an author or from someone else, maybe in publishing. I just be like, oh my gosh, we're not even in the same universe. Like I don't even know where they're coming from. I almost want to disown my own industry sometimes.
Yeah, a random post about what?
Or it might have just Christian nationalist undertones. It might, oh my gosh, CT, Christianity Today magazine. I don't know what's going on over there, but there's so many posts now that are coming across my feed that are just so fundamentalist sounding. Yeah, like they're making.
Well, they had a new editor put in charge who comes from World Magazine.
It makes me just.
I mean, it's just so the fundamentalist credentials are just like shouting.
It was going in the right direction for a while under Russell Moore. And
I don't know about that, but
it was at least in a dialogue. Right, open conversation that was there. Questions being asked. Now there's no more questioning happening. It's all we need to batten down the hatches and make sure people are going to church. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. This is not the same CT.
It's not going anywhere either.
So anyway, the quote that I had is from Jeff Foster, a spiritual writer and poet. Comes from his book, You Were Never Broken, which I need to read. Sounds like a good one. But the quote is, be a little more naked, a little slower. Know a little less what you're about to say. Be a little less prepared, a little messier, a little more willing to expose your shaky, vulnerable heart. Be surprised at your own responses. Don't numb yourself with the same old stories. Stumble if you need to. It's okay. You are held. I love that idea. I need to read this probably daily for a while and just see what happens, because first of all, I need to slow down. I know that's number one.
Yeah. Could you read it one more time? And this is from a book?
Yeah. A book called You Were Never Broken by Jeff Foster. Be a little more naked, a little slower. Know a little less what you're about to say. Be a little less prepared, a little messier, a little more willing to expose your shaky, vulnerable heart. Be surprised at your own responses.
Yeah.
Don't numb yourself with the same old stories. Stumble if you need to. It's okay. You are held.
Yeah.
learning to navigate the changes and disruptions in this industry requires, first of all, me doing everything he just said.
Yeah, completely anathema to Christian evangelical publishing.
It's like going in a totally different direction, right? And when you see those posts,
which always has to end with a certain here's the here's the takeaway.
Let's all make sure we give the come to Jesus.
No questions.
At the end. It's like we're
certainty about something.
Yeah, we're trying to batten down the hatches. We're trying to make things seem very certain. And like if you don't have certainty, well, then you don't have faith. I would say that's the exact opposite of the truth.
It totally is. Yeah.
What faith is the lack of certainty.
Right.
It is the questioning process. It's the mystery that exists without having answered the question.
Yeah, there's that quote or that saying, doubt is the beginning of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can say that with all certainty.
Yeah.
I can still be very evangelical and dogmatic in how I say you can't be certain about anything.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a very difficult, ironic stance sometimes. And then maybe that's where the sarcasm comes from, because you can't really know anything in this world. Give me a break. And I'm not going to stand here and say that I have to have the answers for everybody. I'm not doing that anymore. I did that for a while. That's not fun. I'd rather be a little more naked, a little slower, and know less about what I'm supposed to say.
And it's what we're doing in this podcast, honestly, too. It's like we're not here with the top 5 things you need to know or the latest news about this or that.
Either you like that or you don't.
We'll bring in a little bit of that stuff, but
I'm not going to be performing here.
Yeah, we're trying to figure things out.
Yeah,
by having this conversation with each other.
That's right.
In a public way.
Yeah.
And that makes it kind of vulnerable and shaky.
It's uncomfortable.
And are we really authentic? Are we really authorized to be doing what we're doing?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, we do have a lot of publishing experience between the two of us.
I would say you are, but I'm here as a Klingon.
Come on.
Mostly. But I don't numb yourself with the same old stories is the part that I continually come back to.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
There's so many old stories being published in traditional houses that I'm just like, I know they're trying to fill a pipeline. We all get it. They have to give to the masses what the masses clamor for. But like, do you have to? I was always told, well, someone's going to publish it. Like that was the excuse for why we were doing what we were doing. Someone's going to publish it, so why not us?
Yeah.
Like, well, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting
riled
up here.
Same old stories.
Same old stories.
Whether they're about yourself or they're about the world around us.
We packaged them as though they were brand new. They looked brand new.
Yeah.
We put a new cover on old books all the time.
Yeah. Origin
was the same stuff.
Origin stories are a really big thing in evangelical publishing. Like you got to have your coming to Jesus origin story or your church's origin story.
Right. Right.
So much so though that we've got like 300,000 churches in the United States. Like and 20,000, I don't know, 30,000 denominations.
It's like, a lot.
Really?
But someone's got it right out there.
But the origin is important to that when there's all that fracturing.
Right.
You've got to stake a claim as to where your reality is.
You got to know where it came from.
We get attached to those origin stories, don't we?
Mm-hmm. And they do feel warmed over. Like I've heard it.
Yeah, you've heard it over and over again.
We were just looking at a proposal this week where just like, I can't bring myself to care. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There might be something here in this book, and I'm sure some people would find it, helpful.
Right.
But personally, I can't invest in this because it's just not scratching my itch.
Right.
And I'm going to burn out.
So back to that quote, what would that proposal have done better to own? I'm getting to the other quote you were going to write about. Talk about, but what is it that's not like? What is it
fresh?
That's not messy? What is it that's not?
Well, that's what I think is not fresh.
Why is that person not being clear about what they don't know? Why can't you write a book about what you don't know? Ha ha ha! Try that.
Try that on.
Try writing a book. Try that. Try writing a book about something you don't know. I mean, not something you don't know anything about, but write about the fact that you don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think if you're writing to discover, that's a very different thing than if you're writing to convince, or writing to fill a pipeline, or to answer the questions that people have for you, and you're going to just tell them the answers that you have, right? That's the proposition, I think, often in Christian publishing is that, we have all the answers.
Yeah.
So we just need to offer them in as winsome a way and as
Yes.
compelling a way as possible as to get people in the door.
Right.
And then close the deal.
That's why a lot of the publishing ends up being a popularity contest rather than
right. Did they
saying something
do it
new.
the best?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And instead, I think what we're looking for is more of that question asking, first of all, like just be honest about the things that you don't know right up front and say, this isn't going to be a book about answers, about like proving what I know and telling you, how to live.
Right.
I don't want that.
Right.
I don't know that I don't like making this argument because it's just so Christian, but like, I don't know that Jesus did that. He didn't start out by saying, look what I do and do it. He's saying, here's a story. Let me tell you about this guy who went on a journey.
There's a really, really, really popular self-help book out in the larger marketplace. And I was looking at the cover copy for it. And it was, the cover copy, which is always a little over the top, or sometimes it can be over the top, a little, leaning in too hard. Yeah. A little hyperbolic. But it used this phrase, take control of your life. Like, I'll tell you right now, I will never use that phrase on a book I work on. Yeah. Because you just, like, there's just no such thing for one thing. Yeah. And then why is that such a great promise? Like, are we such a mess? Right. Is things so bad? Right. Are we that, like, do we have that little respect for ourselves that the life we are currently leading actually needs? Now, some of us are out of control.
Now, sure.
For one reason or another.
That does exist.
Yeah. But by and large, do we need a best-selling book that's selling probably by now millions of copies, telling us all we're out of,
Don't you feel a little offended? I mean, just like in your autonomy, in your authentic way of living, like when someone says that, taking control, the assumption is that I'm out of control, first of all.
And that I have no life.
And then I have no life.
Yeah. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we think that's an appealing thing? Right. Oh, I'm just not in control.
And yet so many people buy it hook, line, and sinker, man. That's what it has to tell you.
I mean,
this time it's going to work.
The book promised a lot more, and it had some good points, without a doubt.
Sure.
But it's tainted to me.
No, right.
By this idea that I'm not enough. And there isn't something that, I can discover in that sort of not self-sufficiency, but
advocacy
or adequacy as is.
Yeah. Good. Now that's sort of a tenuous.
Was that boring to write about in a book?
It might be, or it's not going to sell. That's for sure.
That's
but
the problem.
This is a tenuous sort of platform to stand on too, because I mean, obviously you've got in the back of your head, well, I am a mess, and I want to take the Gen X approach, which is like, yeah, whatever, everyone's a mess. It's fine. Yeah. Like, who cares? And laugh about it.
Oh, is that what I'm doing? I'm being a Gen Xer, aren't I?
No, like but if you weren't laughing about it, then I would worry, because that's a little, problematic. Yeah. But like, you got to be able to see, like, yes, you're a mess. Yes, you do need help, but you don't need a book to tell you how to take control of your life. You need to just do it in your life. Like, know and own it, and slow down, first of all. Take to heart. Probably go get Jeff Foster's book. I haven't read it. I'm going to go read it. But
well, we started talking about literary nonfiction.
Yeah.
With the new imprint that's coming out from Urban.
The stories.
It's out. So, is writing about something, writing in such a way that you're saying you don't know something, is that the beginning of literary nonfiction?
It could be. I think there's a good argument for that.
I don't know what I don't. These are things I don't know.
Yeah. Or I'm going on a journey by writing this book in order to discover.
I would love a self-help book that said, the 10 things I don't know. That to me actually would get my attention.
I was just, in some ways, can capture this. Like, I started this book because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah. And when I got to the end of it, I realized I don't know anything. Right? That would be a great, like, I would love to read that.
That sounds really like, but the
That's
point is that
refreshing.
sounds like fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to read that.
I don't want to, I'm so exhausted. I don't want to hear another 10 ways of living my life. I'm done. I mean, maybe that's some of that comes with age too.
Sure.
And I've read a lot of that stuff.
Sure.
And I've figured out I've probably figured out a few things, but yet still realize that I'm the same person I was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was whatever.
I don't know how we've changed in many ways, but we're still, you know,
learned a lot.
What I
mostly
learned
through suffering.
Yeah, through suffering and through grief.
Yeah.
Through actually attending to your grief.
Yeah, not through reading a self-help book.
And dealing with it.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Not just reading a self-help book.
Yeah.
Kate Meyer's book on, grief.
Yeah.
That I got to edit. That was really helpful to me.
Yeah, that was helpful.
It did point out a lot of things.
Yeah.
And remind me the title, which is a great title.
Faith Doesn't Erase Grief.
Faith Doesn't Erase Grief.
Yeah.
Come on, people. That's a great title. Owning it's about owning your story, basically, and saying, at least when I was editing it, I got so much out of it, and Kate is a wonderful author. Owning her story was what helped her to be able to help other people own their story. And so she put that in her book. Mm. And yes, there's a method there, and she's taking apart some of the 12 steps of grieving and saying, largely there's just 3 stages,
three phases.
You work through them at your own rate and at different times for everybody.
Right.
And I just love the permission, first of all, that it gave me to feel like I grieve in a different way than I think I've heard before. I get the denial stage, and that, of course, is emblematic of grief. But if you will actually work through some of the losses in your life, you will find that you have a story that you didn't choose. It chose you.
Yeah.
And now you could either own it or not.
Right.
And I think that's what I really appreciated about her book. Is it literary nonfiction? I don't know. It's more self-help.
But what does it mean to own it? Like in her case, she's talking about how emotions are things that our culture, particularly religious culture, just is really inept at getting at how we're actually feeling. And I think that gets back to just, writing about what you don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know about what my feelings are, maybe. I don't know what I'm feeling.
Yeah, it's hard to even identify.
So what is that? I mean, I can't, that's got to be a way to go on a path of discovery. Like I'm feeling some things. I don't know what they are. Mm-hmm. But my church says, hey, I should stop worrying about it.
Give it to God.
But then that's your clue, though, is like there's some things here.
Dig into it.
I don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. Right. This is what happened. This is what it felt like.
And then find other people felt similar things.
Yeah.
Man, that's so refreshing and encouraging to say.
Sounds like something I'd want to read.
Me too. I felt that too.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Brené Brown has that quote that I feel like it's very applicable. And she talks about the vulnerability that Jeff Foster was saying, be more vulnerable. But when you get there, you recognize that there's a limit to that vulnerability often, and it's in like accepting your story or owning your story. And her quote is, when we define the story, or deny the story, when we deny the story, it defines us. But when we own the story, we can write a brave new ending. Denying the story will define us, and that's counterintuitive. How does not owning your story come to define you? Well, I think that's what happens because you're denying it. It actually becomes the thing that defines you more and more, whether you recognize it or not.
The denial defines
the fact that you're denying the truth. Yeah. That's right. I've experienced that. I've lived that. In my former iteration as a Christian acquisitions editor, I was denying my own story and saying that I could just basically do the pantomime, perform. Yeah.
I'm doing hands against the visible wall right now.
Doing the mime movement. I felt like I was doing that more and more, and it became like a straitjacket, and it started to define me. It started to define the way I thought, the way I lived, the friendships I had, the conversations I would even have with my immediate family, my friends. I started looking to the world to exploit it in terms of like, what ideas can I put forward as an acquisitions person?
Because there's a lot of money involved.
That's right.
In this pantomime.
And this is a word that really helped me, was not just performing, because performative faith is super rampant right now, but extractive faith. There is a version of faith that becomes extractive, as though we're reclaiming it for God. And you'll hear this language a lot in churches and in books.
It's an interesting choice of words, extractive.
Right? It feels like it's almost that exploitative.
Makes me think of digging, like
feeling.
Strip mining.
Yeah, so we can extract the value out of it, and because we're trying to reclaim that for God in some way, or we're trying to like take the kingdom. Like, this is the Christian nationalist kind of paradigm, is that everything belongs to God, so we have to reclaim it as Christians. That's our goal in the world.
Even though God created it in the first place.
Even though, like, basically all they're saying is it just gives them permission to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
But anyway, the story will come to define you the more you deny it, the more you're like not, and this is just true of grief too. If you think that you don't have to go through a grieving process after a loss, well, that's going to come to be this monkey on your back, and you're going to feel that pressure, and you're going to need to attend to it at some point.
It's sort of like a false story, maybe.
Yeah. This false belief that
a diminished, maybe even story, but yet nevertheless a story that you then are attached to.
The story is, I'm fine.
It's become who you are.
I don't need to deal with that.
Yeah.
That didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you stop and you realize, okay, if I owned that story, if I said this happened, it hurt, it changed me, what does that mean? You can start to write a brave new ending. Right. And I like to change that last part, the brave new ending part. It feels a little cliche to say you can
take
start
control of your life,
living a different life. You can start, rather than take control of your life, like
find a new life.
Allow it to be a little out of control or messy or whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, find new life in the messiness.
And embrace that mystery. It's a wonderful place to live.
Like if you take control of your life, or you find a brave new life, is it taking you to still this false story?
Right. Ultimately.
I mean, we all want to be brave for sure. We all want some control, but
I think it's promising a conclusion maybe.
Right. Brave new life sounds a little overdone, overwrought.
Yeah.
All right. I don't wake up feeling very brave most of the time.
I hope you do though.
And honestly, I don't want to. I don't want to be called more brave than than the next person, because we're all brave just by breathing and walking around.
Right. And that's true. We're explorers. We're fellow explorers.
Except
I guess
for some people.
Yeah. But explorers are brave, right? And I think if you're gonna like own your story, that is a brave thing to do. So I appreciate that she's saying it. It's just I don't want to focus so much on the ending. I want to focus on kind of the open-ended part of this life that we're living, rather than saying I've extracted what I needed of value and now I've put it into the right form and now I'm selling it to someone.
Right.
I don't want to do that as an author, as an acquisitions person, as an editor, as a publisher. You're not looking for those kind of people.
What do you think it means to own your story? We've talked about this already just now.
Yeah.
But what do you think that means, owning your story?
Yeah, I mean, so at least I can only speak from my own experience. It became increasingly uncomfortable for me to continually try to prop up the notion. This was just a notion that I had in my own mind, that I had to be, I had to have things together. I had to have the answers. I had to continue in a job that I didn't enjoy particularly, that I was kind of ill-fitted for. I've been fired from pretty much every professional editing job I've ever had.
Well, it's been in a certain culture of publishing.
But like that was defining me.
Yeah, and they do fire a lot of people in the culture.
As you know.
Yeah.
But like that was defining me. And I think coming to own it required me recognizing that the discomfort had a source, that the discomfort wasn't the world, quote unquote. The discomfort wasn't the devil trying to get a foothold in my life, and I needed to just batten down the hatches, pray for hedges around my life or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't working. Christian system, church, whatever it was I was trying to use to prop it up, praying, God wasn't answering, it wasn't working. And I had I had a choice to make. I could either accept the discomfort and say, well, what's that trying to tell me?
Right.
There's a thorn in my foot. Maybe I should actually look at it
Right.
rather than try to keep running.
Accept that discomfort, I think you said.
Yeah, I think accept the discomfort, recognize that that's not uncommon, that's not unique. I needed to see other people's and read other people's stories. I say books saved me, and that's true. There are many books that I could point to that talk about this process. Barbara Brown Taylor's Leaving Church was one.
That has that. We keep talking about that book, but
I should mention Rachel Held Evans too.
But
Faith
there's a
Unraveled.
moment in that book is where she's accepting some discomfort
the fact that she
just
can't
doesn't even know where it's coming from.
Right. Yeah.
I think at least that's the way I read it.
Yeah. She tries to take over a church and Episcopal priest, and wanting to be the pastor for this congregation, and finds out it's not right for her. It's kind of killing her slowly.
So for like aspiring writers out there, or editors who are editing aspiring writers, or writers, or veteran writers, maybe that's the beginning of the new story.
Right. The story that wants to be told.
Accept the discomfort. Like, what's the discomfort that we not are necessarily trying to solve,
right? But
that we're trying to accept.
And
where does that lead us?
Yeah. And I would even phrase that. I love how you said that, because it's something that's happening to you. You're not controlling it. You're not the one saying what your story is.
Right.
Your story's telling you what your story is.
We don't control most of our lives. Like, there's so much of our lives are so socially constructed.
I feel like we could just put that in.
And we don't, we think we have agency.
Big capital letters.
And it's just like, it is so not what you think it is.
Right. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
You're not in control of so much of your life.
In this individualistic society, we value individualism. And yet the irony is we are so not in charge of our destinies or taking control of our lives.
Yeah. And yet we idolize people who it seems as though that's what they've done.
Yeah.
They had an idea. They went after it. It worked.
Yeah.
And we want that. We don't want the other story.
Yeah.
The other story is sad.
Yeah.
I wanted this thing, but it died. It crashed and burned. And now I'm a wasted shell of a human being.
Yeah. So if we accept
that's no fun.
If we start off a book talking about some discomfort we're accepting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that look like structurally?
Well, I think you have to start with that explosion, right? That's the car wreck.
Yeah.
That gets people interested. You're like, what blew up your life?
Right.
At least from an editor's perspective, that's where the story starts.
What blew up your life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is hard to say. It's hard
to define it.
It's hard to go into detail about it and even know what it is.
Yep.
And like, okay, I still have a car and I've made most of my payments.
Not poor and destitute
I live in
on
a
the
nice
road.
house, but my life got blown up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't even say what blew up your life.
Or maybe it didn't get blown up, but it's like something's off.
Yeah.
What's off? Something's off. I don't know what it is.
Happened here.
Yeah. Like you could spend a few chapters just talking about that. Maybe
you
the whole book.
You could spend the whole book talking about it. But I think you do have to start with accepting it. Like that you want to accept it, that you're aware of it and willing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I say this all the time. I think faith in my mind now is really just the willingness to be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what faith is. I don't know.
If you can't start the conversation with that, then what's the conversation about?
Exactly. Like that's chapter 1.
There's no conversation. It's a one-way. It's a one-way.
That's chapter 1. Like I thought I knew. Actually,
road.
I don't know. So if you want to come on that kind of journey, then that's what this is going to be, And whether or not we get to an ending or not, I think there's something to be said about the last chapter of a memoir too, because a lot of people get there and they're like, okay, I told the story of what happened and even how I felt about it and what I did about it, and then what that caused in my life. And it's a sequential, progressive journey that they've structured. And they get to that final chapter and they want to do an epilogue. And it's like the epilogue it reveals that they haven't actually fully integrated and embodied or accepted or owned their own story. Mm-hmm. They haven't actually applied the learning that they got from that book yet. They're trying to artificially stop the story.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's not so much a brave new ending, Brené Brown, that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. It's more of this acceptance that there is no ending, that it will continue, that we will never know. We're sort of concocting this idea in a book and artificially stopping it because you have to have it stop somewhere. But like, it's going to keep going. And if you've owned your story, well, it's going to be clear in that last chapter.
Owned story meaning?
If you've owned it, meaning that you have come to embrace the fact that you're not in control.
Yeah.
That it's kind of going to be in control of you from here on out.
Yeah.
And you can either embrace that.
Right.
And embrace what comes to you, or you can deny it.
And maybe for that last chapter of the supposed memoir, if we're talking about that, it's about relaying an experience where you at least finally learn something. You what am I trying to? I'm trying to.
Yeah, like you take a new approach. Yeah, you say because this life was blown up.
Right.
I can no longer try to.
Right.
Claim that old life.
And here's a story about how how I saw more of my life.
Right.
At the end of the last chapter.
Yes.
Like here's a story. Like, all of a sudden I'm seeing things I didn't know were there.
Right.
I don't know what they are maybe, but here's one of them now.
It's kind of like,
I wish we had an example of that, but
well, it's a existing archetype. I could point to like Joseph Campbell, but like as an example, Wizard of Oz, when she's at the end and she ends up in, it was all a dream. She ends up at home. Now, this story will continue from that point on with the people on that farm that she knows, because she's now grateful for them. She actually has changed toward them, right? Because she's dreamed about them.
Yeah.
And
all this love pours out from Dorothy at the end.
You feel it at the end.
There's something right there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It changes her completely. You know that she's owned her story. And that returning home again for her meant to love where you are, bloom where you're planted. Right. Stop trying to escape your life. Right. Right. Yeah. Which makes that wonderful song of Over the Rainbow actually kind of sad. It's kind of like the tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow thing with Annie, right? Yeah. Looking for always to tomorrow instead of being where you are is going to ultimately ruin you. Yeah. And I think that's what Brené is trying to get at when you've denied that story for so long. It's actually defining you and you don't even know it. Yeah. There's going to be times when people see that. More spiritual people will see that about you and be like, I'm going to avoid you because you're not healthy. And you need to accept it. I do think when bigger feelings come out, I think that's one sign of a good ending for a book. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Like that love Dorothy felt. Yeah. I think that's something. There's a book by the sort of, what's the right word for it? But the former Catholic theologian turned Episcopal priest, Matthew Fox, who's been writing books for years and years and years. Right. Pretty well known. Mm-hmm. And he has a book out about the Antichrist imagery, and of course connects it to Trump. And reading the book for me was my experience of it. Sure. The author is talking about like a fresco in an Italian church that depicts a scene of the Antichrist. And he goes into all the different components that are in there. Yeah. There's particularly the image of a devil whispering in the Antichrist's ear. Wow. And it was weird it was just this very compelling, kind of creepy, unsettling from a long time ago image. And he goes into some other images too. Yeah. But that one struck me, and it was funny because as I was reading that, I saw one of Trump's images. First, there was that image that he had of where he's like healing somebody. Yeah. He looks like he's got like he's Jesus, a stole on, and he's like Jesus, and he's healing this person who looks like Jeffrey Epstein. What a weird image that was. That was so effed up. Like, and then and so many levels, just like warplanes overhead and whatever else, American flag in the background. But then, so in the blowback of that, he released this image of Jesus whispering in his ear. And I was like, "Oh, that is such a reversal of the Antichrist." It's like a denial of. While you're looking at this book, it's like the same thing. Yeah. Instead of him being the Antichrist and devil whispering in his ear, oh no, he's this wonderful person, and Jesus is whispering in his ear. Oh my God. But it's like
but it's the opposite.
Oh no, Jesus is not whispering in his ear.
But what I got out of the experience of all that was, like, I approached that new image that Trump put out, and it was like, man, I really feel the evil here.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's palpable. Really, it's like a palpable, frightening evil.
Yeah, no, it's taken over.
That changed me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, if you can accomplish that in writing your book, even if it's not a memoir, even if it's like this book about comparing Trump and the Antichrist imagery, you've definitely written about what you don't know, or you've gone into the story that you have, that you have been uncomfortable with, that you've had the things, the uncomfort that you need to accept.
Yeah.
That's what that book helped me with.
Yeah, it's identifying something that you had felt, right? It's putting words to something. It's giving it language. And
like,
you hear
holy
that a lot.
shit, I didn't know how. I mean, I am so creeped out by all this stuff, and I am.
And maybe that's why.
And it's like, oh yeah, look at this. It's just the same stuff. And it's just like going on for hundreds of years.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. It put to words something that you were feeling and helped you define this creepy feeling,
right?
This discomfort that you felt, and without that book, maybe it wouldn't have had the same effect, or you wouldn't have identified, maybe what that was creeping you out.
And I think even like an outcome of that is it just spurs me to more action.
Right. Good.
Because I'm feeling more.
Well, you want to do something.
Because so much of this onslaught with Trump is just like,
it's never ending.
Always trying to desensitize you.
Yeah.
And he's always taking like a step further, and then he'll like move back 2 steps. Or no, he'll go 2 steps forward, or maybe he goes like more like 5 steps forward, and then he goes back a step. No, it's all okay.
No, I'm not doing
that. And then he does. And then now that you've gone 4 steps down the road, he'll go another 5 steps. Oh, we'll go back 1 step.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're like into like authoritarianism completely.
Oh my gosh.
A totally corrupt political system.
Yeah. And nobody seems to be able to do anything.
It's at some point along the way to being totally corrupt, without a doubt.
Yeah. And how do we go back?
And to have some, it just desensitizes your emotions.
Totally does.
And your worldview about it.
Yeah.
And
I've had to like pull back from a lot of news. I can't retain.
Yeah.
I mean, the cortisol levels alone are evidence.
But the interesting thing about this was that it wasn't a cortisol experience for me. It wasn't an anger experience. It was more a feeling experience, more like I care about life.
Yes.
And this is just pure evil.
Right.
And when you face pure evil, you're not wanting to like lash out in anger necessarily. You're wanting to somehow steer it and get away from it and put it away. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly.
No, there's real evil out there.
It's not the usual like rage.
Yeah.
When this isn't just like, because I think anger is about frustrating over something that's obvious. Like we know like this is bad.
Yes. And you feel that a lot.
Yeah, you feel that a lot. But just to say, man, this is just so evil.
Yeah. Yeah, and to acknowledge that as what
it's
it
like,
is.
I want to get away from this. Like even maybe having a conversation with a family member, it's like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't, this is just evil stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. It's evil.
Feels threatening.
It feels awful.
Yeah.
Like how can we do this?
Feels upside down. Like like the opposite of the truth.
Mean, think about what happened in Gaza. I mean, we're so complicit in that.
Yeah.
Our leadership right now is so complicit. Our leadership was complicit, is complicit.
Ongoing.
Like, what? I mean, Hamas did this terrible thing. Now I've gotten really heavy and deep and dark.
No, but this relates.
But Hamas did this terrible thing when they came over the border and killed all those people and took so many captive.
Right.
But then we went and killed 30,000. How many thousands and thousands of people? And just destroyed the entire country.
Completely.
What the hell is that all about?
Over and over and over again. I mean, that's been going on years.
And where are they?
Right.
Have they solved the problem?
Right. Are we better off?
Yeah. And just being able to be in touch with those feelings is I think something in writing that we so desperately need.
Right. That this has happened before. I think
I'm trying to bring it back.
No, you're explaining something because from that book, you were seeing something historical.
Yeah.
That had been identified.
Right.
And is still true in the world today.
Right.
And I think if you can do that, it helps orient you and gives you a context that's larger than just what you're struggling with right now.
The book's called Trump and the MAGA movement as Antichrist. I should have said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
By Matthew Fox.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we've recommended a lot of books. And if you're just getting into this and you're just starting to own your own story and try and figure out what the hell we're talking about, my hat's off to you, first of all.
Yeah.
Good job for sticking with this.
I think we've gained some ground here.
We're starting to, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I don't want to claim that ground. I want others who have experienced this. Yeah, exactly. Or control it.
We've got the 5 steps.
Sorry, you're not getting that here.
For owning your story.
But identifying a feeling, I think, is something that you just helped identify. Something that you're feeling it.
Accepting
that you're feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there's a discomfort there, that it's pointing you somewhere, that you need to recognize.
Go look at that stuff. Yeah.
Even if it's just frustration and anger. I mean, that's a very familiar feeling to all of us.
Yeah.
That's pointing you to something. Right? Your psychology training would say, there's a reason for that. And Anne Lamott recommends, as a writer, follow the tears. And I always tell this to memoirists. If you're going to write something meaningful, you have to write what angers you or what makes you desperately sad. Why are there tears? Figure it out. If you can follow that, you'll have something of a story there. You didn't choose it. It's not something that you got to choose, that you were like, I'm going to be sad about this today. No, it just happened.
Yeah.
And so you can choose to pay attention to that or not.
Yeah.
And paying attention, I guess, is something
Such
that I
key phrase.
Continually come back to.
Yeah.
Slowing down in order to pay attention.
What are we not seeing that's obviously there?
And then that's a practice, isn't it? It's you could say it's a spiritual practice in many ways to
Absolutely.
do that. That wards off evil in your life. Am I claiming the authority of Scripture in my life? I wouldn't put that language on it, but arguably that is the tradition that I'm still living in. By doing this, by taking ownership of my emotions and how I live with it.
This is such a rich topic, honestly. I mean, it just goes on and on, I think.
So maybe we'll just continually keep circling
come back to it.
Okay. Well, at the very least, thanks for being here in our spiritual but not religious podcast.
Yeah. Well, we're disrupting by trying to pay better attention.
Yeah. And recent changes have sort of disrupted us. So we're just like, well, I guess let's pay attention to that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for being here, everybody. And
Thank you.
Catch you next time.